Before you scroll away, pause here for a moment, because something quiet has already begun moving toward your life, and you have felt it without fully understanding why. There has been a strange shift inside you lately. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a subtle feeling that your current season is slowly reaching its end. The routines that once felt familiar now feel temporary. The places you walk through every day no longer feel permanent in your spirit. And even when you try to ignore it, something deep within you keeps whispering that your life is preparing for a new doorway. Stay till the end, because what is unfolding is more personal than you realize. There is a reason certain opportunities have not worked out yet. A reason some doors stayed closed no matter how hard you knocked. At the time, it felt confusing. You questioned yourself in silence. You wondered whether you were being overlooked, forgotten, delayed. But what if those closed paths were not rejection at all? What if they were protection from settling somewhere too small for the version of you that is now beginning to emerge? Think carefully about that. Because the place you are about to work is not just another building, another office, another random environment where people exchange time for money. No. This next chapter carries an energy around it that will change the way you see yourself. And strangely enough, the signs have already started appearing around you. Little moments. Unexpected conversations. Sudden thoughts that arrive late at night. The feeling that you are being quietly redirected even when nothing outwardly seems different. Something important is waiting for you, and it is arriving slowly so you do not miss the meaning behind it. There is someone you have not met yet who will look at you differently from the way others did in the past. While many people only noticed your mistakes, this person will notice your potential. While others focused on what you lacked, this person will sense something valuable inside you that even you struggled to recognize. And when that moment finally arrives, it will not feel forced. It will feel strangely natural, almost as if your path had been moving toward that encounter for much longer than you realized. But listen closely, because the most surprising part is not the job itself. It is where this opportunity will lead your spirit afterward. You have spent so much time underestimating the quiet strength you carry. You learned how to survive disappointment without making noise about it. You kept showing up even when nobody clapped for you. You carried dreams privately because you grew tired of explaining them to people who could not understand your vision. And yet, every hidden struggle has been shaping the exact version of you needed for what is approaching now. Do not skip this part. The environment you are about to step into will feel unfamiliar at first. Not because you do not belong there, but because you are finally entering spaces that reflect your growth instead of your limitations. There will be moments where you sit quietly and wonder, how did I get here? Not out of fear, but out of disbelief that life could actually begin changing this way for you. And no, it will not happen all at once. The transformation will arrive in layers. First, there will be the feeling. The inner knowing that something is moving behind the scenes. Then, there will be a conversation that seems ordinary at first, but later you will realize it carried the beginning of everything. After that, there will be a moment where timing suddenly aligns in a way you could not have planned yourself. And when it finally becomes real, your heart will remember this exact feeling you have right now while listening. Because part of you already knows. You have always carried a deeper purpose than the people around you could fully see. That is why certain environments drained you so quickly. Your spirit was never meant to remain trapped in places where your light had to shrink just to fit in comfortably. You kept trying to adapt to rooms that could not recognize your value. But now, something new is forming ahead of you. A space where your ideas matter. A place where your presence creates impact without you needing to force it constantly. And strangely, the job itself may not even look the way you once imagined success would look. That is the part nobody tells you. Sometimes the opportunity meant for your life arrives wearing a completely unexpected face. What begins as a simple step forward slowly becomes the bridge toward everything you once thought was too far away. One introduction changes another. One experience awakens confidence you forgot you had. One chance encounter shifts the direction of your future quietly. Permanently. You are closer than you think. There is a reason you have been feeling emotionally restless lately. Your spirit senses movement before your eyes can see it clearly. That is why certain days feel unusually emotional for no obvious reason. Part of you is already beginning to detach from the old version of your life. Even your mindset has started changing in subtle ways. You no longer want temporary distractions. You no longer crave empty validation the way you once did. You want meaning now. Stability. Purpose. A future that feels aligned with who you truly are becoming. And the place you are about to work will awaken exactly that. Not immediately. Slowly. Like sunrise appearing across a dark horizon. There will be mornings ahead where you wake up and realize your energy feels different. Stronger. Clearer. More hopeful without needing a reason. The heaviness you carried for so long will begin lifting piece by piece. And people around you will notice the shift before you even fully understand it yourself. They will hear it in your voice. See it in your posture. Feel it in the way you speak about tomorrow. Because for the first time in a long time, tomorrow will no longer feel uncertain to you. Stay with this message a little longer, because there is another truth you need to hear. The opportunity approaching your life is connected to more than career alone. It is connected to identity. The version of yourself waiting on the other side of this next chapter is more confident, more emotionally grounded, and far more powerful than the version that once doubted every step. You are not simply moving toward a new place of work. You are moving toward a new relationship with yourself. And perhaps that is why the timing had to unfold slowly. If this blessing had arrived earlier, you may not have been emotionally ready to carry it. You might have entered it still seeking approval from people who were never meant to guide your path. But now, something inside you has matured quietly through experience. You have learned discernment, patience, emotional resilience. And because of that, you are finally becoming ready for the environment meant to match your growth. Look carefully at your recent life. Notice how many endings have happened recently. Certain connections fading. Old habits losing their grip on you. Dreams changing shape. Even your silence has become different lately. More reflective. More intentional. That is not accidental. Life has been preparing room for something new to enter. And when it arrives, it will feel strangely familiar, like a destination your soul somehow remembers before your mind fully understands it. There is a place waiting for your energy. A place where your natural gifts will begin opening doors you once believed were closed forever. You will meet people who challenge you to think bigger. You will step into rooms that once intimidated you. And one day, without warning, you will pause in the middle of an ordinary moment and realize your life quietly transformed while you were busy surviving. That realization will hit deeply. Because you almost gave up on yourself once. You almost convinced yourself that your dreams were unrealistic. You almost accepted smaller expectations simply because disappointment exhausted you. But something inside you refused to die completely. Even in your hardest moments, there remained a tiny voice whispering that your story was not over yet. That voice was right. And now the next chapter is beginning to move closer. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Quietly, intentionally, beautifully. Before this part ends, hold on to one final thought tonight. The place you are about to work is not important because of status, attention, or appearances. It matters because of who you are becoming while walking toward it. That is the real miracle unfolding here. A future version of you already exists somewhere ahead, calmer, wiser, fulfilled in ways you cannot yet imagine. And every delayed moment, every unanswered question, every difficult season has secretly been guiding you toward that life step by step. But there is still something you do not see yet. Someone connected to this opportunity is already closer to your path than you realize. And the moment your worlds finally cross, the direction of your future may begin changing faster than you expected. The strange thing about destiny, my beloved child, is that it rarely announces itself loudly at the beginning. It does not arrive with flashing lights or dramatic warnings. Most of the time, it enters quietly, disguised as an ordinary day. A random message. A simple conversation. A moment you almost ignored because it looked too small to matter. But later, much later, you look back and realize that was the exact second your entire path began turning in a different direction. And that is why you must not lose hope during this waiting season. Because even now, while you are listening to these words, pieces of your future are already moving into place beyond your sight. Something about your energy has been changing recently. You may not even know how to explain it properly. One moment you feel hopeful without understanding why. And the next moment you feel emotional over things that never used to affect you this deeply. There are nights when your mind drifts toward the future for no reason at all. You imagine different surroundings. Different people. A different rhythm to your life. And then you quickly push those thoughts away because you are afraid of expecting too much. But listen carefully, those visions did not appear inside you by accident. Your spirit often senses movement before reality fully catches up. Don't skip this part, because something important is waiting for you here. The job that is approaching your life carries more meaning than income or routine. It is connected to restoration. Somewhere along the way, life made you question your worth more than you deserved. Certain experiences slowly convinced you that maybe you were always going to remain unseen, overlooked, replaceable. You became so used to disappointment that you started protecting yourself by expecting less from life altogether. But what if this next opportunity arrives specifically to break that mindset apart? What if the environment you are about to enter becomes the place where your confidence slowly returns? Not instantly. Not perfectly. But genuinely. You are about to discover what happens when your gifts are finally placed in the right atmosphere. Because environment changes everything. A flower can spend years believing something is wrong with it, when in reality it was simply planted in conditions where it could never fully grow. And in the same way, many of your struggles were not proof that you lacked value. You were simply surviving inside spaces that could not recognize what you carried. That is why you felt emotionally exhausted so often. Why your motivation disappeared so quickly. Why you kept questioning yourself even after giving your best effort. But a shift is coming. There is a place ahead where your natural qualities will begin making sense in ways they never did before. The way you think. The way you observe people. The quiet determination you carry beneath your calm exterior. Even the struggles you once hated about yourself will suddenly become strengths in that new environment. And when that realization hits you, it will feel emotional in a way you cannot currently imagine. Because for years, you have been trying to fit yourself into places that were never designed for your future. Stay till the end, because there is another layer unfolding here. The people connected to this opportunity are not random either. One person in particular will enter your life carrying an energy that feels strangely comforting from the beginning. Not because they flatter you. Not because they instantly change your life overnight. But because around them, you will not feel the need to constantly prove yourself. Their presence will make you feel calm instead of anxious. Seen instead of ignored. And without realizing it, this connection will become part of the reason your confidence starts rebuilding itself again. It is amazing how one healthy environment can heal parts of you that constant struggle almost destroyed. You have spent so much time in survival mode that peace feels unfamiliar to you now. Even when good things begin approaching, part of you becomes suspicious. You wonder how long it will last. You prepare emotionally for disappointment before anything even goes wrong. But the chapter approaching your life is trying to teach you something new. Not every opportunity arrives to hurt you. Not every change leads to loss. Some doors open because your season is finally changing. And yes, there will still be moments of uncertainty. Moments where you question whether you are truly ready. Moments where you compare yourself to others and temporarily forget how far you have already come. But do not let those thoughts deceive you. Growth always feels uncomfortable at first because you are stepping beyond the limits your old life placed around you. The discomfort is not proof you are failing. Sometimes it is proof you are finally expanding. There will come a morning soon when you sit quietly before starting your day, and something inside you will whisper, "My life is changing." Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just softly, with deep certainty. And from that point onward, your relationship with the future will never feel the same again. Because this next chapter is not built on desperation. It is built on alignment. You are no longer chasing things that drain your spirit completely. You are being redirected toward spaces where your energy naturally belongs. That is why certain delays had to happen first. If everything had worked out earlier, you might never have left the environments that were quietly limiting your growth. Sometimes life removes comfort before it introduces purpose. Think about how much stronger you have become already. Not louder. Not harder. Just deeper. You understand emotions differently now. You recognize insincerity faster. You no longer feel impressed by empty promises the way you once did. Experience has sharpened your spirit quietly. And because of that, you are becoming capable of handling the opportunities that once would have overwhelmed you emotionally. Something beautiful happens when a person stops begging life for validation and starts walking toward purpose instead. Everything begins changing from the inside first. That is exactly what is happening to you now. Even your dreams have changed recently. The things you used to chase no longer excite you the same way. Surface-level success feels empty now unless it carries meaning with it. You want something real. Something stable. Something connected to who you actually are rather than who people expected you to become. And the path unfolding ahead of you carries exactly that energy. But here is the part nobody around you fully understands yet. Your future is bigger than the current version of your life can contain. That is why you feel restless. That is why certain routines suddenly feel temporary. That is why your soul keeps searching for something more, even when you cannot clearly explain what that something is. You are not lost. You are transitioning. And transitions always feel confusing before clarity arrives. There is also a hidden reason why this opportunity is approaching now instead of earlier. The version of you today carries emotional wisdom that your past self did not yet possess. You have learned patience through disappointment. You have learned humility through waiting. You have learned endurance through silence. And strangely enough, those invisible lessons are about to become some of your greatest strengths in the place where you are going. Because people will notice your calm resilience. They will notice the quiet maturity in the way you handle pressure. They will notice that you carry depth instead of noise. And what once made you feel different from others will slowly become the exact reason new doors open for you. Something important is waiting for you beyond this current season. Hold on to that truth tightly. Even now, while you are listening, your future is unfolding in ways you cannot fully measure yet. Conversations are happening. Timelines are aligning. Paths are quietly crossing. What feels delayed to you may actually be perfect timing preparing itself carefully behind the scenes. And when the moment finally arrives, it will not feel like luck. It will feel earned. Not because you forced life to happen, but because you survived long enough to reach the chapter meant for you. Before this message fades tonight, remember one thing very clearly: the place you are about to work is not simply giving you a position. It is giving you a new emotional beginning. A new atmosphere. A new reflection of yourself. And one day soon, you will look around in disbelief at how different your inner world feels compared to the person you used to be. But the most unexpected part has still not happened yet. Because someone connected to this next chapter is about to recognize something extraordinary inside you, long before you fully recognize it inside yourself. Pause for a moment and listen carefully, because the next phase of your life is not arriving in the way you expected it to. You have imagined success before. You have pictured opportunities appearing suddenly, changing everything overnight, making all the confusion disappear instantly. But what is approaching you now feels different. Slower. Deeper. More personal. It is unfolding like a hidden road becoming visible step by step instead of all at once. And strangely enough, that is exactly why it will last. There is a reason your spirit has felt unusually alert lately. Even during ordinary moments, your mind keeps drifting somewhere else. Toward possibility. Toward change. Toward a future you cannot fully describe yet. Sometimes you try to ignore those feelings because you are tired of hoping for things that seem distant. But the truth is, this inner pull exists because part of your life is already beginning to shift beneath the surface. Stay a little longer, because this part matters more than you realize. The environment you are about to enter will challenge the old version of you in unexpected ways. Not harshly. Not painfully. But honestly. It will force you to see yourself differently. For so long, you survived by becoming smaller than your true potential. You learned how to stay quiet about your dreams. You learned how to lower expectations so disappointment would hurt less. You became careful with hope because too many unfinished situations made you question whether things would ever truly change. But imagine waking up one day and realizing you no longer feel trapped inside the same emotional patterns. Imagine entering a space where your ideas are welcomed instead of ignored. Imagine finally meeting people who speak to you as if your future actually matters. That moment is closer than you think. And when it begins unfolding, the strangest part will be how natural it feels. Not fake. Not forced. Just right. Like stepping into a life your soul has been preparing for quietly during every difficult season you survived. There will be a moment early in this journey where you almost doubt yourself again. You will look around and wonder whether you truly belong there. Old insecurities may rise for a second. The memories of rejection may whisper inside your mind again. But do not let those old thoughts define your future. The version of you that struggled before was never weak. That version was simply exhausted from carrying uncertainty for too long. This next chapter carries different energy. You are not walking into it empty-handed. You are carrying experience now. Wisdom. Resilience. A quiet emotional strength built from every setback you overcame silently while nobody was watching. And people will notice that about you immediately. Not everyone speaks loudly about their pain. Some people transform it into depth. Into empathy. Into calm determination. That is what happened to you. The difficult seasons did not destroy your spirit. They refined it slowly until you became someone capable of handling bigger opportunities with maturity instead of desperation. Don't skip this, because something important is hidden inside what you once called delay. There were moments when life seemed unfair to you. Times when you watched others move ahead while your own path felt frozen. You questioned the timing of everything. You wondered why progress seemed so close and yet so far at the same time. But now you are beginning to understand something powerful. Not every waiting season is punishment. Some waiting seasons are preparation. The life ahead of you required a stronger version of your heart. That strength could not be rushed. And one day soon, you will look back with complete clarity and realize that certain opportunities failed only because they were too small for the future now approaching you. There is also someone ahead who will unexpectedly influence the direction of your journey. This person may not appear extraordinary at first. In fact, the connection may begin very simply. A conversation. A shared moment. A piece of advice that stays in your mind longer than expected. But over time, you will realize this encounter carried significance from the beginning. Because some people enter your life to remind you who you are becoming. And that reminder changes everything. The workplace you are moving toward will not only shape your career, it will reshape your confidence. Slowly, you will stop speaking about yourself with hesitation. You will stop shrinking your dreams before others have the chance to doubt them. You will stop apologizing for wanting more from life. And perhaps the most beautiful part of all, you will begin trusting yourself again. That trust has been missing for a long time. Not because you lacked ability. but because repeated disappointment taught you to second-guess your own instincts. Yet even after everything, a quiet part of you never fully surrendered. Something inside kept believing there had to be more waiting ahead. More meaning. More opportunity. More life than what you had experienced so far.